just to pick up a bit on what Steve was talking about with view from sun, I wanted to give an example of how it's actually useful from a design point of view, as well as being able to assess the shadows. This is our subject building here, and let's say you want to assess what is happening with the neighboring property on this side here and also on this side here. So currently we are at the summer solstice and daylight saving is in effect, although we all should be using solar time, but that's a debate for another time. So your traditional solar animation is going to animate the shadows across the model as we move through the day. And of course, the problem with this is that I can't now see what effect the shadows are having on this side of the building here unless I rotate the building around. And so it's a matter of rotating the model, then looking at the shadows, rotating the model, looking at the shadows. You don't get an overall view of what's actually happening. The alternative to this is to view from the sun, and when you view from the sun, you're actually sitting on the sun, riding the sun across the sky. And this means that any surface that you can see in your model has sunlight falling on it. Now, because the sun is so far away, you're so zoomed in that all of the lines are going to be parallel in this, so it's effectively an isometric view, but a rotating isometric view. So if we then animate what sitting on the sun does, we can drag the slider right back to sunrise and then get an idea of the path of the sun across the sky in terms of the model. And as we go, we can watch the overshadowing. So remember, anything we can see has sun falling on it, anything we can't see doesn't have sun. So we can immediately see that there's some overshadowing of the adjoining property here, and we can drag the slider until, let's say, all of the windows on that adjoining property are exposed. And probably if we just crank it back a little bit, this little window here has full sun on it, and it's about 11:30. So we're going to overshadow that that side elevation of that adjoining building up until about 11:30 in the morning, which is probably not a bad thing in the middle of summer anyway. And of course we can then keep rotating and move to the other side of the building and make the same kind of assessment over there. And this also allows you to look at the effect that other buildings further away might have. So obviously, if we were looking at the overshadowing of the backyard here, I know it's late in the afternoon, but you can see that this building here is going to be casting shadows over these areas here, which means that any overshadowing from our building is not relevant anymore because it's already being overshadowed by another building. And you also get a sense that at sunset here there's going to be some sun coming in these dormer windows here. So if we were to look at this in terms of the how successful our shading devices are being, then we can look here around the middle of the day and see that we can see these windows here, which means that there's going to be some sun penetration in there. These ones are fairly well protected. There'll be a little bit here, but the shading devices in the middle of the day are not really doing much, these pergolas. Perhaps they've got something to go on top of them. But if we switch to the winter solstice and let's turn off daylight saving and do the same thing, and let's take a look now at how our shading devices are performing. And this is the time of the year when you actually want the maximum amount of sun coming into the building, and it's interesting to see that up to about 9:30 this pergola here is going to be blocking a large portion of sun coming into these windows, to a lesser extent these ones here. And in the afternoon a similar thing will happen. By about 3 o'clock the pergolas are blocking that nice afternoon sun from coming in. Now this may be planned for a reason, but at least you can see that and possibly make some adjustments to the design in order to mitigate those effects. And of course, having any kind of solar panels on the roof is also can also be assessed here, because you can see the overshadowing on the roof and so on. So the view from sun is really a very powerful way to very quickly get a good idea of what's happening in terms of solar access.